The Galactic Council chamber buzzes with activity as the grand assembly of the most advanced species in the universe gathers for an important session. Today is not an ordinary meeting. The room is filled with the galaxy's most powerful and ancient civilizations, beings who have shaped entire eras, bent time and space, and mastered realms of existence humans could scarcely comprehend. Yet the focus of this gathering is not on the familiar or established. It's on the newcomers, humanity. Representatives of the galaxy's elder races occupy their ornate seats, each one a testament to eons of technological and philosophical development. The beings that sit upon them look upon Earth's fledgling species with curiosity and suspicion. Humanity's rise has been meteoric in comparison to others, and that rapid ascent has unsettled the balance. No species this young should have had such a significant impact, some council members whisper to one another. And yet, here they were, summoned to answer for themselves. From the moment the council's decision to summon humanity was made, the stakes were clear. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a trial. The humans were to answer for their actions, their rapid technological development, their bold ventures into unclaimed space, and their unpredictable nature in conflict. Few in the galaxy knew what to make of them, and fewer still trusted them. They were young, brash, and as many believed, dangerously volatile. The discussion begins. Voices, some mechanical and others organic, resonate through the massive chamber as the council members voice their concerns. A representative from the Vul, a species with a history of maintaining galactic stability, speaks first. The humans have upset the balance. Their expansion is reckless, their actions unpredictable. They rush into territories without understanding the consequences. They threaten the harmony we've maintained for millennia. Others nod in agreement. The Kaowailex, a species known for their vast intellectual prowess, step forward with a more cynical take. Humans are impulsive. Look at their history, if you can call it that, barely a few centuries of interstellar travel, and already they've drawn the attention of the galaxy's most powerful. That, in itself, should be concerning. It's not their potential that worries us, it's their lack of control. Then, there's the more extreme view. Representatives of the Grot, a species that survived countless wars and brutal conquests, offer a more direct warning. They are too warlike. They have already engaged in conflict with species who once thought them insignificant. They lack the wisdom to control the weapons they create. We've seen their history, it's soaked in blood. How long until they turn that violence outward? We must act before they destabilize the galaxy further. In the center of it all sits the Council's leader, an elder being of unimaginable age and wisdom, who listens but reveals nothing of their own judgment. They observe humanity from a distance, having witnessed many species rise and fall over millennia. Their decision will ultimately decide the fate of the humans, but for now, the Council's discussions lay bare the galaxy's deep unease. The verdict is clear: humanity must be summoned to answer for their actions. They must explain themselves, justify their existence in a galaxy that values balance, restraint, and the slow, deliberate progress of wisdom accumulated over eons. The summons is formal, yet unmistakably grave. Earth's representatives are to appear before the Council, where they will be judged, not merely as a diplomatic exercise but as a test of whether they belong in the galactic community at all. The call goes out across the stars. Humanity, often the subject of whispered intrigue and open skepticism, is formally summoned to stand before the greatest powers of the known universe. For some of the Council members, this is the moment they have been waiting for, the moment humanity will be humbled. They expect the humans to cower, to submit to the overwhelming authority of the Council, or perhaps even beg for forgiveness. It's been the fate of many young species before them, after all. Others on the Council are less certain. Humans are unpredictable, and they've already defied expectations on more than one occasion. But even they believe that the Council's sheer force of presence will intimidate humanity into compliance. After all, no species that young and inexperienced could possibly have the resolve to stand up to the galaxy's finest. Time passes, and the day of reckoning arrives. The Grand Chamber, usually a place of measured diplomacy and stately decision-making, is filled with a sense of anticipation. The humans have arrived. Humanity's representatives enter the chamber, but what strikes the gathered species isn't nervousness or humility. They don't come with bowed heads or trembling voices. Instead, they walk with calm, purposeful strides, their faces betraying a quiet confidence that ripples through the council. This isn't the demeanor of a species that expects to be put in its place. The gathered dignitaries exchange glances, some amused, others confused. How could a species so young, so fragile in comparison to the vast, immortal beings that sit in judgment, carry itself with such assurance? Perhaps it was simply the arrogance of youth, some conclude. Others wonder if humanity has some plan they haven't yet revealed. The human delegation stands before the council, their leader stepping forward to address the assembly. Every eye, organic and mechanical, is on them now. It's a tense moment, one that will decide whether humanity is allowed to continue its journey among the stars or whether its path will be forcefully curtailed. The humans understand the gravity of this moment. They know that their very future is on the line. But rather than approaching with fear or subservience, they meet the council's gaze directly. They know they are outmatched in age, technology, and raw power, but they also know something the council seems to have forgotten: humanity thrives under pressure. They always have. This is no ordinary diplomatic meeting. It's a test of humanity's right to exist in a galaxy filled with civilizations far older and more powerful than their own. But the humans are ready, and they intend to meet the challenge head-on. The question hanging in the air isn't whether they will answer for their actions, it's how they will answer, and whether the council is prepared for what humanity will say. As the chamber falls into a tense silence, the human leader prepares to speak, setting the stage for a confrontation unlike any the galaxy has seen before. The human diplomat steps forward with quiet confidence, his gaze sweeping across the room, meeting the eyes of each of the council's esteemed members. His voice, though calm, carries a weight that commands attention. "We are here not to justify our existence," he begins, "but to remind you why we belong." The statement catches the council off guard. They had expected pleas or apologies, perhaps even self-effacing remarks. Instead, the humans are taking a different path, a bold one. The diplomat stands tall, exuding an authority that seems out of place for such a young species, and yet, in this moment, perfectly appropriate. "Our story is one of survival," the diplomat continues, his words measured. "From the moment we crawled out of the primordial muck of our planet, Earth, we have faced adversity. We have fought against the forces of nature, against disease, against our own destructive impulses, and each time, we emerged stronger. Adversity has not broken us. It has shaped us." The council listens, some skeptically, others more intently. This is not the defense they anticipated. "We were born into a world that tried to kill us," the human diplomat says. "From the very start, our planet has been a crucible of challenges. Natural disasters, famine, disease, each one could have ended us. And yet they didn't. We adapted. We innovated. When faced with extinction, we found ways to survive. Every major milestone in our history, from mastering fire to splitting the atom, came not from a place of comfort but from necessity, from a need to overcome." He pauses, allowing the weight of his words to settle in. The council members remain silent, their earlier smugness now replaced with a growing curiosity. "In our early days we were divided," the diplomat continues. "We fought each other over land, resources, ideology. There was a time when we almost destroyed ourselves, more than once. And yet, each time we teetered on the edge of annihilation, we found a way back. We learned from our mistakes. Our history is one of conflict, yes, but also one of unity in the face of insurmountable odds. When the time came to set aside our differences and rise to meet the challenges before us, we did so." The diplomat recounts some of the greatest struggles humanity has faced: wars that left continents scarred, diseases that ravaged populations, environmental disasters that threatened the very existence of life on Earth. He speaks not with pride in humanity's destructive tendencies, but with pride in their ability to overcome them. "We did not let these trials define us in defeat," he says, his tone firm. "Instead, they became the crucibles that forged us into what we are now. A species that learns, adapts, and ultimately endures." There is a pause as he shifts the narrative. The room feels charged, the air thick with anticipation. The diplomat continues, but now his focus is not on the hardships of the past, but on humanity's achievements that followed. Yes, we are known for conflict. But it would be a mistake to think that is all we are. We are also builders, explorers, dreamers. We look up to the stars, not to conquer, but to learn. Our first steps into space were taken not as an act of aggression, but as an act of discovery. Our curiosity drives us, our desire to understand what lies beyond our own horizons. We are not just fighters, we are innovators, creators, and problem solvers. The diplomat speaks of humanity's exploration of their solar system, the strides they have made in science, medicine, and technology, all from a planet considered primitive by galactic standards. We send out probes, spacecraft, and eventually ourselves, across the vast emptiness of space, not because we had to, but because we wanted to. We seek to understand, to explore, to find our place in the universe. He nods toward the various species gathered around the council, acknowledging their own achievements with respect. And yes, we learn much from the species that came before us, yours included. But we've also contributed in ways that cannot be ignored. Our breakthroughs in energy, medicine, and communication, they are born of necessity, of a world that demanded ingenuity for survival. The room is silent, the weight of his words settling on the minds of the council members. The human diplomat, without aggression or boastfulness, has effectively shifted the narrative. Humanity is no longer simply a young, reckless species. They are survivors, inventors, dreamers. He then moves to the heart of humanity's true strength. But what sets us apart, what truly makes us dangerous, if I may use the word, is not just our technology, nor our will to survive. It is our adaptability. Time and again, we have faced impossible odds, and time and again, we have found a way to turn the situation to our advantage. We learn quickly. We innovate in the face of adversity. And we adapt, faster than any species in this room can imagine. The human diplomat's eyes sweep across the assembly, seeing the mixed reactions. Some council members remain impassive, while others seem visibly unsettled by the implications. Humans do not wait for problems to resolve themselves. We face them head-on. We change when we need to, and when we cannot change ourselves, we change the rules of the game. We find a way. The room is quiet now, completely engaged in his words. What began as a simple judgment has become a deeper reckoning, not just for humanity, but for the Council's understanding of them. The diplomat's speech is not a plea, nor is it a defense in the traditional sense. It is an assertion: humanity belongs here, not because they demand it, but because they have earned it. The message is clear. Humanity is not asking for acceptance. They are here to show that, through their trials, their ingenuity, and their unyielding spirit, they have earned their place among the stars. The Council, for all its wisdom and experience, must now confront the reality that humans are more than just a young and unpredictable species. They are a force shaped by their own adversity, stronger and more resilient than anyone had anticipated. The chamber falls into a heavy silence as the human diplomat finishes speaking. The members of the Galactic Council, many of them thought to be beyond surprise, are visibly taken aback. The Council, composed of some of the most ancient and powerful species in the galaxy, had never expected such audacity from humanity. They were prepared for explanations, for apologies, even for excuses, anything but this quiet defiance wrapped in calculated logic. There is a murmur among the dignitaries. Some sit in their seats, exchanging low whispers in their native languages, while others are more animated, gesturing with urgency. It's clear that humanity's boldness has shaken the preconceived notions that many council members had held. For some, this defiance is seen as a threat. A species so young, yet so capable of not only standing its ground but also challenging the council's authority, is a risk. These members of the council worry that if humanity is allowed to grow unchecked, they might one day be too powerful to contain. Others, however, see something different. These voices, though quieter, argue that humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability are precisely the traits that make a species worth keeping close. There is potential here, they insist, potential for partnership, not just conflict. They recognize that if humanity is brought into the fold, rather than pushed away, they could become a valuable ally. In their eyes, a species capable of such rapid growth and learning could be a formidable friend rather than an enemy. The debate intensifies. Some of the more militaristic species push for immediate sanctions, even military action, to prevent humanity from becoming a destabilizing force in the galaxy. We've seen this before, one of them argues, a creature with a heavily armored exoskeleton. Young species with ambition, unchecked by the Council, have only ever led to destruction. We cannot afford to let history repeat itself. But others disagree. A council member from a race known for its diplomacy raises a hand to speak, urging calm. Humanity has shown not only strength but restraint, she says, her voice resonating through the hall. They do not seek war, and their history, though fraught with conflict, also speaks of unity, innovation, and a desire for peace. Should we not give them a chance to demonstrate these qualities on the galactic stage? At this moment, the eldest member of the council, from a species that has outlived empires and seen countless civilizations rise and fall, steps forward. This elder has observed the cosmos for millennia, their wisdom sought after by all who sit in the chamber. When they speak, it is with the slow, deliberate cadence of someone who has seen the same debates play out over the eons. Every great species was once young. The elder begins, their voice soft but carrying an undeniable weight. In our arrogance, we often forget our own beginnings. We forget that there was a time when each of us was considered reckless, dangerous, unpredictable. And yet we survived. We thrived. We learned. Humanity is no different. The chamber falls silent as the elder continues. They are not without fault, but neither are they without promise. They have shown that they can learn from their past, that they can adapt and grow. And if we judge them too harshly now, if we crush them under the weight of our fear, we may lose an opportunity for something greater. The elder looks around the room, their eyes landing on each council member in turn. We must give them the chance to prove themselves, not as enemies but as allies. Let us not make the mistake of extinguishing a flame that has only just begun to burn. There is a moment of contemplation after the elder speaks. The council is divided, but the wisdom of the elder carries significant influence. A debate ensues, and for hours, the fate of humanity is discussed in depth. The tension in the room is palpable as the various factions argue their cases. Some are still convinced that humanity is too dangerous to be left unchecked, while others are persuaded by the elder's call for patience and understanding. Finally, the council reaches a decision. The verdict is not one of war, nor of immediate acceptance. Instead, the council votes to grant humanity a form of conditional membership within the galactic community. Humanity will be brought into the fold but under strict probation. They will be monitored closely, their actions scrutinized, their progress watched. They have earned a seat at the table, but they must continue to prove their worth. There is no sense of triumph in the Council's declaration, only a wary acknowledgement that humanity has earned their place through their resilience and boldness. For many species in the chamber, this is an unexpected outcome. They had anticipated punishment, or, at the very least, severe restrictions on humanity's growth. But instead, the Council's decision reflects both respect and caution. The human diplomat steps forward once more, bowing slightly in acknowledgement of the Council's ruling. His face remains calm, but there is a glint of satisfaction in his eyes. He knows that this is a victory, even if it is a cautious one. With a steady voice, he offers his final words to the assembly. "We do not seek to dominate," he begins, "but neither will we be dominated. We've learned from our past, and we are ready to face the future, with or without your approval." The chamber is silent as the human representatives turn and leave, their heads held high. The tension in the room lingers, but there is also a sense of something new, an understanding that the galaxy has changed, however subtly, with humanity's bold entrance onto the interstellar stage. As the humans depart, the council members exchange glances, each contemplating what the future might hold. Some are still wary, unsure of what to expect from this new member of the galactic community. Others are intrigued, curious to see what humanity will accomplish next. The elder, watching from their seat, smiles faintly. They know that the galaxy has just taken a step into uncharted territory. Humanity's future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: they will not be easily forgotten. The galaxy has answered, and now, so have the humans.